Principles of design. Design has certain principles it uses to communicate a message, besides words and images. How we use these principles in our design will affect the structure and readability of the message we are trying to communicate. All of these design principles can be applied to any project, and how they are used will determine the efficiency of the design and how attractive it is. There's no one right way to apply any of these principles. In this course, we will only graze the surface of what these principles are and what they do. Alignment. Alignment brings order to chaos, helps organize similar items, creates groups and visual connections. Good alignment should go by unnoticed by the viewer, as bad alignment, intentional or not, will be very noticeable. The lack of alignment creates a sloppy and unorganized design, as does the mixing of too many different types of alignment. But I must point out that it's not wrong to break alignment in order to create tension or to put a specific element in the spotlight. Balance. It is important to balance the occasional chocolate with a healthy meal, and balance in design is equally important. In most cases, we feel more comfortable with balanced layouts where graphics don't overpower the text and the page doesn't seem like it's leaning to one side. As we learned in the past class, all elements have a mass, and it is the designer's job to know how to balance the elements on a page. Contrast. Have you ever noticed that in the professional basketball game, all players seem to be about the same size? But if you stand a regular sized person next to one of these players, you'll notice that they are much taller on average than most of us. This is contrast. In design, big and small elements, black text on white foreground, squares and circles can create contrast. Contrast occurs when two or more elements are different from one another, and the bigger the difference, the bigger the contrast. The most important tip is to make this contrast obvious. Only a slight contrast that is still noticeable can seem like a mistake by the designer. We use contrast in design to emphasize what is most important or to direct the user's eye. But beware, it is possible to overdo contrast. Too much use of contrast will overwhelm the user with emphasized elements. Proximity. When an observer sees several elements on a page, his brain will automatically try and associate a connection between them. The designer can use this in his advantage, arranging objects in groups to help him create a meaning, better disseminating the message. This is called proximity. Proximity creates a link between elements on a page. Objects near each other suggest some type of relationship, and the further apart they are, the more it suggests difference. A good example of this we can find in a text. Phrases in the same paragraph mean they follow the same line of thought, and a change in paragraph symbolizes the changing of the subject. Repetition. Also called consistency, this principle helps maintain order throughout a project. Note how in most of these presentations there is always a main title at the beginning of a subject, the same title again, shown above the screen in a light gray color, and the text is always the same color, height and length on all videos. This is repetition. You can also see it in magazines. Note how the layout repeats itself, following a certain pattern. Some pages have the same number of columns. The position of the pictures may also be the same, and certain elements are always present, like where the page numbers are shown. Repeating graphic elements helps maintain a consistent experience in your design.